Hey guys, thank you so much for taking a little time out of your busy day to hang out with me. I'm Nash with Palen Music Center, and a very warm hello from frigid Springfield, Missouri. As you can see, we are kicking it into high gear around the warehouse right now, and it is the busy point of the day. So if you hear something that sounds like a forklift, probably is a forklift. But here we go. So essentially, what I'm going to talk to you about today is a brand I've been really excited about for a while, and something I was very gung-ho about getting here is Warm Audio. So Warm Audio is a company out of Austin, Texas that was started by Bryce Young in 2011. And what's really cool about these is he's found a way to give you a boutique product that's based off of classic studio staples such as Neumann's, Pultec EQs, Neves, the works. Anything you can pretty much think of, he's conceived of a way to do it below the traditional price point of these studio staples. How he's managed to do this is he has a team that gets together and they essentially go through the originals. They see what are the key components of each item, how can it feasibly done in the manufacturing process, and he's just joined with a lot of different companies to see how he can do this at a lower price point while pushing higher volume and passing on those savings to customers, basically. And I just wanted to kind of introduce the brand, show you what they were all about, and show you a couple of pieces that I think are really exceptional. So,
got first?
First off, we've got one of my babies. As I mentioned,
Are we saving the best for last, by the way?
there is no best for last. It's all great.
Oh, that's good. You're ready for television.
So, what we're starting with is the WA67, and as you can tell, he always adds Warm Audio at the beginning here, but the 67 is a dead giveaway for what it is. It is a take on the Neumann WA67, which was the first Neumann tube mic, or actually, sorry, the second Neumann tube mic. This is a great happy medium between like an 87 and a 47. The 47 obviously being a very round, most of us are mostly familiar with and have used in studios. Like I mentioned, this is a great mixture of the two. If you find the 47 to be a little too warm and the 87 to be a little too modern sounding, for lack of a better word, then this is going to be a good in between. And vintage examples of this are going to cost you an arm and a leg, so. Perfect. But I also kind of wanted to just show you like what you get for the price point versus what an original unit would cost. Check this out. You get a nice box that holds the mic. Look at that. Crushed velvet seconds.
Pull that bad boy out while we're in town,
Look at that. It's a brick. It's huge and it is very heavy. It's very reassuring feeling. Yeah, you can use this as a microphone or as a weapon, either or. And let's see, it comes with a really nice shock mount and the transformer as well.
So to folks that are maybe new to this industry, what is the transformer doing?
So, because it's run off of a tube, just like, say if you have like a tube amplifier, you need a transformer to run this. So basically you run this in between the mic and your interface, more than likely you're using interface. And what this does, it regulates the voltage and keeps everything on track essentially. But this is a very beefy, reassuring transformer at this price point. You know, vintage examples of this like can go for astronomical amounts of money, and this comes in right at $8.99, which is insane to me.
And it comes with
Comes with a
Cable
nice,
too.
yep. Comes with the cable.
It's a nice looking cable.
Comes with the transformer, the shock mount, and yeah, this nice holding box. So when you have it up in your mic locker, it's not bumping into anything. Pretty impressive. Right. Let's see. What should I play with next?
And that's the WA67.
This is the WA67. Right. Keeping on the Neumann train, as I mentioned before, they also do 47. So, like, this is my favorite tube mic of all time. This works on everything, voices. It sounds wonderful on acoustic instruments. Sounds wonderful as a room mic. It's what you'd expect. It's a little darker than a solid state mic. So if you want to add a little vintage vibe and once again, this comes in at the same price point actually as the other mic I just showed you, $8.99. And once again, you get the nice box with it. And it is even larger. Got the tube inside of here and the transformer here. And yeah, this sounds wonderful. I've been using these. I have a clone, and I've been using it on acoustic recordings, everything from violins. Say you're attached to your condensers, but you also like what ribbon mics can do to strident instruments with very high frequencies. I've always found that a tube mic, especially this tube mic, can do wonders for violins in particular. I wouldn't put like something like a saxophone in front of it, but violins, acoustic guitars that I found to be strident, and it sounds great as a room mic too. It sounds very natural. But
Is
yeah,
this something that you could use vocals for, or would you want to shy away from that?
I love it for vocals. As I mentioned, I prefer. It does have an extended low end. Matt Behringer from the National, who, if you've heard his music, he has a very low gravelly register, kind of almost in like Johnny Cash territory. This sounds wonderful on low baritone and bass male vocals, and that bright for like a modern condenser. You're not going for pop sound and you want like a nice like Billie Holiday sound, then this is your mic.
Very cool.
Let's see.
Guys, if you're watching and you've got any questions for Mr. Nash, please throw them in the chat. Could be about anything.
Alright. Okay.
We got
So as I mentioned before, most of these mics are coming in around $6.99 to $8.99. The most expensive example being around $1,200. All of the mics that these are based off of roughly are about 4 to 5 times more expensive. So that just kind of shows you what you're getting with this. You're getting like sine transformers. You're getting really top high-end components, and being able to do this is he's in such high volume that he's able to pass these on to the consumer. And really, no one has ever done what people have tried, but they failed. Where he has succeeded is these sound 90% the same as the originals at a fraction of the price, which is absolutely unbelievable. So back on to the WA47, based off the Neumann 47 we were just talking about. He does make a transformerless version of that without a tube. It's a really great sounding mic as well. This is a good option for someone looking to get into their first large condenser or a pair of large condensers. Say you want to set up the Glenn Johns setup, which is a typical drum setup that uses large condensers instead of pencil condensers. You can also use ribbons. This would be a very good choice. These are very flat, neutral sounding microphones, which is fantastic at this price point, which is $299. Most of its competitors have a very noticeable nasally high frequency in the high mids that is really hard to mix out. These are nice and flat, and there's tons of fantastic reviews on these online. I have a friend who this was actually her first mic, and she still uses this, and she likes it so much for that reason. It's very neutral, takes EQ very well. If you're looking at all the typical stuff, you know, in this price point, this would be at the very top of my list. If I were looking to get a single one for vocals, acoustic guitars, a good studio all-rounder, or a set of these on drums, like, it's just stupid good for the money. And I'm gonna show you what you get with this. Oh. Get the mic a fair amount smaller because it doesn't have to deal with the tube and all the circuitry that goes with powering that. Get a sticker. Get a little shock mount here, and then get the full crate.
Nice.
All for $299. It's a heck of a deal. Oh yeah, this nice little carrying bag as well.
Leather bag. That's nice.
Yep. All right. You know, I've been talking about home studios a lot. Kind of going to, which I'll have to grab the 87 here in a second, but I'm going to show you the WA84, which is based off the KM184. So these are the pencil condensers in the line as far as the Neumann stuff goes, and this was the first set of nice pencil condensers that we ever bought for our home studio. My latest album that I did with my band Euphoria Morning, these are the overheads that we used on every single track. They're just the originals. Pencil condensers can be like very bright and kind of strident, and a lot of people don't like them because they don't have the low-end presence that something like a large condenser does. These are very full, neutral-sounding overheads. I really, kind of the big test for any like pencil condensers for me is putting them in an XY configuration over drums and hearing how the cymbals sound. And on our latest album, very little processing was needed. Usually I'm fighting the cymbals the whole time because they're just wrecking your mix when you blend it in with vocals. You won't get any strident high-end noises with these. They're very neutral and palatable for all sorts of things. I also really love them on in a stereo spread on acoustic guitars. They sound really natural. I'm going to show you. So, get a nice little carrying case with this. Always a nice perk. Yeah. So you get this little guy, and then you also have this one here. Using this, say, common use of pencil condensers is if you're doing audio for an indie film or something like that, if you put this on a boom and you're outside, this is going to keep you from getting all that extraneous noise. Or if you're like me and you record at home and your air conditioning is going, it's also a nice use of that. But yeah, overall, like, This is incredible, and these come at $3.99 a piece, which once again is less than half of the mic it's modeled after, and I think you'll be really pleased with this.
Danny in the background doing computers over there.
Yep, working away. All right. So getting away from Neumann's, we've got the WA14 here, which, as you guess, this is based off of the AKG. Once again, going back to drums, these are fantastic on drums. And this is usually one of those big, large condensers that's suggested to people who are starting. And it ends up being a mic that never really leaves your mic locker. So where this excels is its versatility overall. It's not really known for doing any one thing in particular, but if you're looking, you want to spend a little more than what you would on the WA47 Junior, but you want a nice all-rounder that you're going to be able to use on vocals, acoustic guitars, drums. These are a good way to go. These are also really popular on rap tracks, in particular on vocals. They have a nice high-end snap that really lends itself to very percussive language and long strung-out phrases where you need a lot of sibilance and articulation. This is kind of your guy. Once again, when I say sibilance, I don't mean harsh in any way. I just mean this is going to capture all of that high information really well. It's a slightly brighter mic than something like a Neumann. This sounds, yeah, great on rap, pop vocals. I've used these as drum overheads. These were actually the first set of these, of the originals, was the first like drum overheads that I ever used on one of my tracks. So
what happens if you put this in a snare?
it would be quite bright, my friend. But you get a nice carrying case with this. When you check out the profile, they're nice and flat. It's not a big, bulky mic. It makes it easier to kind of wedge these into more situations. It makes it a little more pliable. I've used these on toms, actually, which I usually don't like using large condensers on toms because depending on what kind of drummer you're dealing with, he might whack them. But if you look at the build, it is conducive to put it over something like a tom and anywhere where you need it to be discreet and not get hit. But you have a couple of different polar patterns on this, meaning you can go from cardioid, directly ahead, to omnidirectional, so it picks up sound from both ends. So another cool thing you can do with this that makes it another good all-rounder is, say, you want to do an old school bluegrass recording. Well, the thing to do is have everyone crowd around an omnidirectional mic and play all at once, all around the mic. And when you're taking a solo, you dip in towards the mic, and when you're done, you dip out away from it. So if you wish to do that, this is a good choice. A lot of bluegrass musicians I've actually seen like use this particular mic because it is very pliable and works well for a lot of different instruments. So whether or not you're taking a bass solo, violin solo, or coming in and playing, you know, a bright bluegrass guitar, it's going to sit really well. So you get the mic with that, get the nice shock mount, and yeah, this one comes in at, where are you?
WA14?
Yes, the WA14. It looks super cool. The ones, the anniversary ones.
I guess, yeah.
Oh man, those are super cool. The ones with the block inlays and the gold hardware.
Yes.
I'm about it. I'm so about it.
Do we have an 87?
The 87? Yeah. We have the R2. Let me grab it real quick.
I'll follow you.
Yeah.
I didn't see it.
So, let's go ahead and do this right here. So, out of the Neumanns, this is the pick of the litter. This is the one you're probably the most familiar with. This is probably arguably the most used large condenser microphone in the entire world. And there's a reason for that. It has a very broad frequency spectrum, and it has a very, very smooth mid-range that you just don't really find with a lot of mics. It sounds very natural. So the 87 was the first really nice LDC that I ever got to use. The place where I was going to school had a matched pair of them, and they would send me on assignments to do all sorts of different things, record choirs, orchestra, rock bands, all sorts of things. And in between those two mics, I found that I rarely had to do very much processing at all, maybe a low pass and a high pass filter depending on what I'm doing. But this is the most natural sounding and useful large condenser I think you can possibly have in your mic locker. And this particular one, this is the R2 version. There was an R1, the R2 version. The R1 was fantastic, but the R2, you read the reviews, sound on sound, all the kind of undisputed kings of gear review in this particular field. Everybody's saying the same thing. The R2 is 95% of the way to an 87. An 87 is going to cost you over $3,000. This guy comes in, I think it's over $700, which is outrageous. Gonna open this up for you real quick. Yeah, I keep talking about home studios. If
We got a bunch of stuff. I was just showing the SE stuff that came in.
oh yeah, we got tons of good stuff in.
Audience.
Yes, another one of my favorites from our friends across the pond in England. All right. Once again, as with all of the other Neumanns, Neumann-based products that we have from Warm Audio, get this nice case to keep your investment nice and safe. Very nice, reassuring box. Size-wise, weight-wise, it's about the same as the 67, a little smaller than the 47. It is omnidirectional, or has multiple color patterns to work with, and as well as a pad on the back to lower 10 decibels in case you're working with something with high SBLs, say a bass cab or a drum set. I say bass cab and you're probably laughing because it's a large condenser, but this sounds amazing on bass because it can handle the low end. It has a very beautiful, natural sounding low end extension, and I am a huge 87 fanboy. I keep talking about home studios and rock recordings, but as I mentioned before, when I was going to school and they'd send me out on assignments, they had me do choirs, orchestras, and I'd use a matched pair of these on choirs all the time, and it's remarkable how much separation you get between different vocal registers just using these mics. Very little processing. I think that's kind of the test of a good mic, in my opinion, is does it work as a room mic? Does it work up close, in close proximity to the instrument? If you're watching this and you're looking for a good room mic for your house of worship, 100% go with this. It's built like a brick, multiple polar patterns, and you're really going to love what you hear when you play the audio back, and you're really going to love what you hear in your monitors.
Love it. Is that the last one?
Yeah, that's the last one. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. I really appreciate it. Leave comments below if you have any questions, and I'll do my best to get back with you and answer these questions for you. As always, you can reach out to us, and I'll be happy to help.
What's the number?
What is our number, Alec?
I put him on the spot. 417-882-7006.
Yeah!
Ask for Nash. Yeah.
Absolutely. Signing out.
See you guys.